How's it going, guys? So I've been thinking, how would you fit in all the maps into Revelations? Because I've been a little disappointed that not every map was featured in it or had a reference in it. So I tried to figure out the best way it could work. Now, pretty much 3 new islands need to be added. They'll have 3 maps on them each, just like the others. And then we'll need to put one underneath Nocta and Toten. So I'll explain how it goes. So we have Revelations by itself. You know, that works. That's that part of the map. We go to Nocta and Toten. That is completely self-contained in itself. And then I was thinking there would be some downstairs areas, and as you go down them, you'd end up in the receiving bay in Moon, and it would be locked down. The doors that you take out into the actual Moon, those doors actually go back up to Nocta and Toten, so that's where you'd come in down to Moon, and it would just pretty much be that spawn room. There isn't much down there, but it includes the map in pretty much, and I feel it keeps with the symmetry and the squareness of Nocta and Toten. It's not too off-putting. So then we'll move on to going right. So where we'd go to Shangri-La, instead of that being there from spawn, we would go to Call of the Dead, Die Rise, and Gorod Krovi. So how that would work, the jump pad would take us to right outside the lighthouse in Call of the Dead. So we'd have that little square area, pretty much where the intro cutscene takes place. Now you wouldn't be able to go up the stairs into the lighthouse itself. That area would just be blocked off. So you'd have to make your way down, and there might be some small differences in the way it goes, but you'd end up at the bottom of the lighthouse inside of it. And so what you'd then do is you have to make your way up to the top of it, and once you get into the top of it, you would then walk into Die Rise. And so what that area would be the area before that long elevator shaft with the galvanucles, where you drop down to get the AN-94. So you'd be in that area, and you'd make your way forward down the hallway or whatever, and then you'd come to the elevator drop. So you'd go down there, you'd make your way down or whatever. So that's one way. You can't go back up, just like in Die Rise. And once you get to the bottom, you exit out, and it would eventually form into Gorod Krovi. Now I'm thinking this area would be out front of Dragon Command. It would possibly contain the little inner areas, but it would just contain that, like, those 2 buildings in general, just like the front half of them at least. And so the jump pad would pretty much be the entrance to the Dragon Command, like the actual building itself. That's where the jump pad would be. And that area would be a little different, possibly just to fit in with Call of the Dead. I feel like the area in front of the lighthouse in Call of the Dead, where a lot of people did that stair glitch, that area where you could buy the AK-74U, I feel like that could mold in really nicely with Gorod Krovi's part on that part. Now the corruption engine would be in the Gorod Krovi area, or somewhere in between the Call of the Dead and Gorod Krovi front part. So then we get into the jump pad, and it would go to Shangri-La, and that would go through as normal. You go through Dreisendrach to Kino, and then to Kino, instead of going to Verrucht, the jump pad would take you to Shadows of Evil, Transit, and Derice / the Giant. So when you land down in Shadows of Evil, you land down in the subway, the underground subway, and the jump pad would be where that wall is that disappears. The rift portals around the room, they'd be closed off, but you'd have the subway there, and you'd make your way out to where you'd normally go out into the junction. But instead of it being the junction, you'd go out, you'd go up the stairs, and you'd come out of the bank in Transit. Because you know how the stairs there went down and you do the pack punch. So you'd come out there of those bank stairs, and the bank would probably be rearranged instead of being so small and tight, but you'd pretty much come out there at the bank. So we're in Transit now, in the town, and this area is pretty big. I reckon the corruption engine would be in this area. You'd have the bar area open, but you wouldn't be able to go outside of the town. But as you start to go towards that far side of town, you know, where you come on down and take that shortcut from Diner, where Double Tap is in the town survival map, that area would be Derice and the Giant. So pretty much you'd slowly make your way up that road, and it would start to form into the main area, the main power area in Derice. So you'd open that door, and I don't know if you'd have that side area where Quick Revive used to be or anything, but pretty much the main part is you go into the back room where the teleporter is, and instead of it being a teleporter, it would be another jump pad. So that pretty much completes that island. So from there, that jump pad would go to Verrucht. I would change Verrucht around a little bit because it's all mainly Verrucht, but there are elements of Shinonuma and Zetsubuno Shima in it. So when you first jump in, I would make that part Shinonuma. So I'd pretty much make the Shinonuma that section. I think it's the comms room, and it would be a completely different layout, but pretty much it would connect into Verrucht, and the core part of Verrucht I would keep is the outside area with the fountain and the upstairs areas. So if you can just keep that fountain part and the upstairs areas of Verrucht the same and make everything else like where Speed Collar is and where the fountain is itself, maybe we can move that and make that area a little bit more playable, because that area is just completely closed off. I'd make that Shinonuma, I'd make that the comms room area, just so it's a bit more in the game. So yeah, these areas connect to Verrucht, and that's pretty much the same as normal until we get to the edge. So where the Zetsubu no Shima section is, and you can tell where it is by those green test tubes. So I'd pretty much make that side Zetsubu no Shima. I know that is meant to be Zetsubu no Shima, but it doesn't look anything like it. Like, it still looks like Verrucht, but it's just got Zetsubu no Shima tubes in it. So I'd make that more Zetsubu-like. I'd probably have one of the rooms in the bunker there, probably the one with the actual test tubes itself in it, but it wouldn't go downstairs. It would just actually go to the jump pad. So yeah, with that, we pretty much just make Shinonuma and Zetsubu a bit bigger. And from there we go into our last new island, which is Nuketown Zombies, Ascension, and 5. So pretty much the jump pad would land in the top of the house in Nuketown Zombies. So you land in the top of the house and you can't access the bottom floor of the house yet. You have to go out the top floor and you'd go down into the backyard area of Nuketown Zombies, and that area is pretty much as normal, maybe make it a little bit bigger. But the bunker would be wide open, or it would be a lot bigger, like the doorway would be a lot bigger than it is. And so you'd go down these stairs that the bunker creates. You'd go downstairs the bunker, and that would slowly become Ascension. You know that area between Speed Collar and Mule Kick, those stairs, and you'd get out to that area there. Now the doorway that goes down to the actual rocket pad where you can go to Pack-a-Punch, that would be closed off, so you couldn't go down that way. So you'd be forced to make your way towards Power. You'd then make your way through the building until you're on the ground floor, and you'd come outside, and that area would be a lot different. That where that rocket is crashed and all that stuff is on the ground, that area would be a lot open just to accommodate the corruption engine, because that would be in the Ascension part. And so now we need to add 5 in. The part where it goes downstairs to where you can get Juggernog, that area is going to be closed off. So we're only left with the main area that goes out to the MP5K. Now, as you go out that door, I'm thinking that area could be where the main elevator in 5, the one that goes down to the basement and comes back up to the second floor. And it'd be a bit different, you know, some things would be moved around. But pretty much you'd make your way to where Juggernog is, where the doors are to the Pack-a-Punch room. Those would be open up and you'd go in and the jump pad would be in that hallway right there. So pretty much you take the jump pad from 5 there and you would end up in the Mob, Buried, and Origin sections. Now, I'd keep that area pretty much the same, except I'd want to extend the Buried one a little bit more. So because it's like a U shape when you go down from Origins and then you enter Mob, I'm thinking I'd put the barn in from Buried. So as you're going down from Origins into the Buried section, you'd come down here, you'd make your way around, and then eventually it would just start getting lower. I don't know if you'd be able to have like flat boards, but you'd slowly make your way around and get lower. And eventually you just go down and down until you enter the Mob of the Dead section. And I think that'd be a fine Buried reference. It clearly lets you know, hey, this is Buried, but it's not too big and it kind of fits the original area pretty much. So yeah, then of course Origins goes back to Revelations and we've completed our circle, all the maps, guys. And realistically, they couldn't have done it. They wouldn't be able to get all the maps in, but I just think it would be really nice to see that. Maybe in Custom Zombies one day it would be good. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know if you were to add in any map and put it in Revelations or make your own island, what combination of maps would you have together on an island? What sections would you have? Or if you were to put them onto an existing part or redesign a part, what would you do? Let me know and I'll catch you guys later. Cheers.